Howdy, this is Tubalcain again, and I'm taking another road trip, this time in my car. I'm not in the old Dodge truck, it's not quite up to it. I think the rear brakes are out though, the brake warning light is on. But you'll recognize some of this territory here, but I'm starting a series here on energy, and there'll be 6 or 8 videos, and this is number 1. And I had to get out of the house today because I have the heater air conditioner men there, and they're putting in a new furnace air conditioner to replace my 40-year-old one that I put in myself all these years. And this is the first time ever that servicemen of any kind have been in my house other than the roto-rooter man. So I'm uncomfortable with that, and I got to get out of the house. So I'm taking a road trip, and this is going to be on the various ways of producing electricity or energy in the state of Illinois, even more specifically, mostly in LaSalle County where I live, but I will venture into a few other counties. But today the video will center around solar power. So we're going to go out to the Grand Ridge Solar Farm and take a look at that. But you can see here the crops. This is about a month since I took that last road trip, and off to the left here, no crops are up yet, but they have sprayed the field with Roundup, so everything is dead in this immediate field here. And all of a sudden, I think they've already planted it, beans will come up through the brown dead weeds. And up here a little farther, you'll see the what went on in these cornfields and bean fields since the last video. And really, the crops are late this year. This is June 11th, the year 2014 AD, and the corn on the left side here is not very high. It's about almost knee high here on this side, this 80-acre field. I know this guy. Quite short over on the other side, but it'll all catch up by middle of July. It'll all look the same here, and it will be a good crop. And we had a lot of rain in the last few days, so it was rather overcast the last couple days, and so this wind farm that we're going to see wasn't doing much. And of course it only works half the time anyway, and that would be during the daytime. There's no sun at night, so the solar panels do not work, and they don't do much when it's gloomy and overcast either. And on the right here is a bean field. That's soybeans for you guys on the other side of the world. And there are thousands of uses, maybe I should say hundreds of uses for soybean and soybean oil, but it is not a product that we eat right out of the fields here in Illinois. But a lot of that is turned into soy oil. It's a very useful product, and Henry Ford used to experiment with that, and he had even made some plastic fenders or something out of soybeans. And the state of Illinois, I think it was during the Second World War, had license plates made out of soybeans. I remember seeing some of the old ones, but although it's a little bit before my time. Look at how straight those rows are in that soybean field. All planted by GPS mounted or equipped tractors, so they can really make a straight row. Nothing to be ashamed of in front of their buddies at the coffee shop. While we're traveling here, and I only got about 6 miles to go, I'll talk a little bit about energy in Illinois. And within 15 miles of my home, and I don't think the camera's going to pick this up, but there's a lot of windmills up here. I'll turn the camera just a little bit, and you might see the windmills coming into view. So within 15 miles of my house, there are many, actually hundreds of windmills. There's a nuclear plant. We're going to visit that, not go inside, of course. There is this solar farm that we're going to see today, and there is even a dam or two that produces electricity by hydroelectric power, of course. And that is not a very plentiful form of power around here because there's not much drop in Illinois. We're at 600 feet elevation here, which isn't much. Can you see the windmills out there? And if you knew where to look here, you could see the nuclear power plant also, but I don't think you're going to be able to tell where that is. Well, we also have coal-fired plants. There's one about 30 miles from the house, but and there's a lot of them in the big cities, and maybe we'll even see some coal trains here during the course of a month or so that it'll take to make these videos. None of the coal trains come through town here where I'm located. Also, we'll take a look at a municipality that produces most of their power, or some of their power, with diesel generators. And finally, methane gas. You know, some of these landfills here, and we call this one Mount Trashmore. We'll visit that, probably have the last one, and see, at least from a distance, they're generating plants that use the methane gas that comes up through the ground and is captured and used to produce electricity. The quantity probably is not that great in megawatts or whatever, but we'll take a look at it anyway. Can you see any of the windmills up there on the horizon? And that is called the Grand Ridge Wind Farm. I'm going to turn here. This solar farm is also called the Grand Ridge Solar Farm, and all of these are very close to the nuclear power plant, which puts all of this other nonsense to shame as far as the amount of electricity produced. And I hope I can get some figures on that, how many homes that it'll supply, or megawatts, or whatever the unit is that they use to measure this. I'm not an engineer, I'm not a scientist, I'm really just a casual observer of things, and I was always interested in how electricity was made, and we're coming up here to the Grand Ridge Solar Farm here presently, and it is 160 acres that was taken out of agricultural production here and put online in, I believe, 2012, so that's only 2 years ago. You might see some windmills here as we come up over this little rise. And that's the Grand Ridge Wind Farm. There's a lot of those. But this solar farm is meant to last 20 years. And after that, I don't know what the agreement is or the contract. It will be reverted back to agricultural purposes. So it is not a total waste of land, but I think that it is somewhat of an experiment. And out of the 160 acres, they said there's 140 acres of solar panels, and those were made by General Electric, and that's their thin film technology. And this farm is run by Invenergy. The name of the company is Invenergy, and it's 20 megawatt, I believe, if that is the correct terminology for that. And again, we're in, this is the Grand Ridge Solar Project in LaSalle County, Illinois. And here it is. Now, it's on low land, it's hard to see it, there really isn't much to see. It will not be exciting. I hope that some of this information ends up in a classroom, because there's going to be a bunch of videos here, and this would be something that school kids could learn by, I think. And there's the panels, 160 acres. Now here in Illinois, our farms, or our land, is divided up into what we call sections, and that sections are 1 mile by 1 mile, and that's 640 acres. So this is a quarter section approximately. 160 acres is a quarter section. That used to be a common size for a farm. There was even a song about that. Give me 160 acres in the valley, 160 acres, da, da, da. So here are the panels. The camera is facing north now, and I'm going to swing it around. You can see the windmills in the background, and the nuclear plant way out there. We're probably about 6 or 8 miles from the nuclear plant, but here are the cells, the solar cells. And it's fairly sunny today, so these things would be producing as I speak. General Electric thin cell technology, I believe they call it. And I wish I had an aerial view of this, but this is very level land here. And in a second I'll get back in the car and we'll go down to the end there, and that's where all of the transformers, etc. are. Remember now that these cells produce direct currents. So at some point there are inverters that convert it to the alternating current, and then transformers and so on. And Commonwealth Edison, our biggest utility around here, buys all of the power at a wholesale price, I'm sure, from this solar farm. This may be of interest to you, but on the other side of the road here is a farm pond. Actually, it's not a farm pond. This was a gravel pit, and it's converted into like a private fishing area. And there's a man down there, and he just caught a fish. Taking it off the hook and see if it throws it back. I might take you out to a farm pond that I fish at, because you wouldn't believe the size of some of the fish that are in these ponds. And I catch catfish all the time that are, you know, 4 or 5 pounds and even bigger. This is the end of the farm on the south end, and this is where the power is collected, and everything is underground. All of the lines are underground. And here's the transformers. Now, I don't know if those are the inverters there, but judging by the size of this, I call it a substation, you can visualize that the amount of electricity produced here is not phenomenal by any means when you compare it with the nuclear plant and other forms of producing energy. Remember, this is 2,900 homes that it could produce power for. And this farm is approximately a 1/4 mile by a 1/4 mile, and that would, let's see, I'll get back to you on that exact size. It's a 1/4 section, I said, so that would be, I believe, a 1/2 mile by 1/2 mile. I prepared a short demonstration for you. I'm on the road now, and I've got my little solar-powered car here, and it's in my shadow right now. So as I step aside, just to show you the power of the sun. Now I'm on back of the car. Off it goes onto the ground. What a demonstration. All right, I'm gonna set the odometer here, and we'll see just how far it is to the other end of the solar farm, going this direction. And then we will head east and measure it again. Not much traffic out this way today, or ever for that matter. Two-tenths of a mile we've come. And you see the farm ends right here and goes back into crops, and that was 4/10, and then up to the corner here would be a full 1/2 mile. And now from this intersection, I'm going to measure again the distance here, and I'm heading east. Remember, the solar panels are facing south. They're a little bit closer to the road here. There was a jog. I don't know the reason for that. For some of you people in other countries and that do not understand how much an acre is, or 160 acres, this might be of at least minor interest to you. And I've come 4/10 of a mile, and it's A little bit less, there's the end of it, a little bit less than a half a mile in that direction. The camera is now facing southwest, and this is going to conclude my discussion on the solar farm. And on the next video, I'll be going across the road. This is just a preview, and talking about these windmills. And there's a service man out there this morning. And I'll be going to another solar farm with my buddy Dwight, and we'll be getting on his gator and driving down through the fields, through a little access road, right up to a windmill such as these. And notice that windmill is not turning, and that's why a man's down there with a wrench fixing it. And there's a ladder that goes up through those. I won't tell you much more about these, but again, this is the Grand Ridge Solar Farm. I'm going to cover several different, wind farm rather. I'm going to cover several different wind farms, because there are a lot of them in Illinois. And by the way, if I didn't say it already, that solar farm that we talked about is the largest such facility in Illinois. Not in the country, I understand, but in Illinois, that is it. And way out there is the nuclear plant, and that's also another video. So that concludes this video on the solar farm. Hope you enjoyed it, and be sure and watch the 6 or 7 other videos that will be on energy production here in Illinois. This is Tubalcain saying so long for now. I have a close relative that works for Chamberlain, and they're the makers of LiftMaster and Chamberlain garage door openers and other products. But I got this for Christmas, last Christmas, and I haven't even opened it yet. But it's a solar light, motion activated, to go to outside the garage or someplace. And I think I'll mount it outside this garage sometime this summer when I get around to it. But let's take a look at that solar cell. We don't need to look at the light itself. But let's see here. There it is. Okay, I'm sure it's not exactly like what they're using out there at the solar farm in Venergy, but the principle is probably the same, and this is about 6 inches by 6 inches. How much it produces, I don't know, but you know, just about everybody around here in Illinois has those little garden stakes with lights that they put around their little garden, solar powered, and there's just an awful lot of solar powered products available for cheap now in the stores. But this is Chamberlain's version of it, and I'm not going to get the light out now. I'm not in the mood. But that was a nice Christmas present. Might save me some money too. And also, you know, I was talking about energy. My new furnace and so on that's going to be put in is energy efficient. And there's my new air conditioner. The chimney comes out of the side of the wall now. One of those pipes is for bringing in fresh air, and the other to exhaust the waste. And 96% efficient furnace, I think. And it doesn't produce much heat in the chimney part. New copper lines, and there's the unit itself. That'll probably save me some big bucks this summer, because the other one was 1976 technology, whatever that is, or was. You know, it wasn't very efficient, but I think I'm going to like this. And the weather is just starting to get hot, where I'll probably need it next week. We had a little break from hot weather here, so I was comfortable without the air conditioner, but most of the summer I will need it. And you can see the copper wiggling there a little bit as the men are inside working on it. And there's all of the gauges and so on to check the freon. Now you see why I wanted to get out of the house and did a video today. A lot of money this is costing me, a lot of money. I noticed that this camera picks up a lot of wind noise on the little microphone, but I'm outdoors again, and there's probably not a home in all of Christendom that does not have 3 or 4 of these cheap little calculators that are solar powered. handy, and you don't ever need batteries. That's really one good use of solar power. I really like that. And there's any number of gadgets. Ooh, thank you, Jordan. Tubalcain Jr. just showed up here as my shop assistant. This is, say hi, Jordan.
Hi.
As I was saying, there's all this cheap junk. That was $1 at the dollar store, but it is kind of neat. You set them on the windowsill and they go back and forth, and I had two of them, but my little 2-year-old granddaughter thought those were toys, and she proceeded to break off one of the flowers. Luckily, I didn't care much. Now, I already showed you this when we were out in the country, and this is adjustable too, so you can...
He used to have a racetrack. Where did that go?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, we used to have a little track for that.
We had
yeah.
like 2 of them, and
yeah.
mine always won.
Tiny little motor in there, and the solar cells, and I tell you, those really go. Let's put it over there. Well, I gotta move that up a little bit. Yeah. Do it one more time, Tubalcain Jr. All right. And so much for that. But those are a few other little applications of solar cells. There are many, many more.